turn it over to Mike Medina from Trifecta. You will now be learning.
I just want to quickly introduce myself and our company. We're Trifecta Credit Solutions. We handle business funding, business credit, personal credit repair, a lot of things that fall under business funding. We put you in touch with the right people or handle ourselves. I'm head of our business relations, so my job responsibilities are exactly this. I come out, I identify partnerships that I believe to be mutual beneficial for our company and your company, and I make those connections. And just, from a human standpoint, that's how I live my personal life as well. I really try to make a positive impact in my community, in the individuals that I have everyday conversations with and interactions with. And so when I came aboard the Trifecta, the reason is because their business practices align with my personal beliefs. And so these type of events are paramount for a lot of smaller companies that are looking to expand their business, looking to expand their network. And it's nice to be surrounded by like-minded individuals who have that same mentality of not what can you do for me, but what can I do for you. And that's really how I approach all these interactions is a real emphasis on what we can do for you. And in return, that business will come back your way, I never approach anything with a, what can you do for me, what can you do for me, kind of mentality. The way that we operate is a client first, a customer service first approach, and that's just how I approach all of my interactions with everybody at these events as well. So I'm happy to see a lot of new faces. I'm newish to the circuit of networking, and so, but if I'm halfway decent at my job, my job is to become familiar to you and understand what it is that your company does and what your company needs. And so I look forward to getting to know some of the new people that I haven't gotten a chance to meet yet. And just, when you guys think of anything credit related, please think of Trifecta Credit Solutions. Thank you. I'd like to hand it over to Dave, but, oh, there he is. He snuck up on me. There you go, partner. Thank you.
Good job, man. Good job, man. Guys, give it up for Mike. Hello, everyone. How we doing today? Come on, how we doing today? Wake up, man. You ain't at work, right? You're here having a good time, having fun, right? No, guys, that was awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Darnell. Thank you, Kutztown University, for allowing us this opportunity to speak to you guys today, to shed some light on things, some things that aren't known. As Mike and Pete said before, my name's Dave Burgio. I'm one of the founders of Trifecta Credit Solutions here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And guys, I'm gonna keep it as quick as possible because from experience, just shedding some light on business credit tactics and some personal credit tactics. Why both? Because today's day and age with funding and lending, I'm sure Pete, Vanessa, and a bunch of other people could tell you they're gonna go hand in hand, okay? There's barely anything out there right now that doesn't. So I'm gonna try to get through as much information as possible because it can be a lot. And it stirs up a bunch of questions. It creates a bunch of Q&A, right? And it's these tactics that can help you guys, not only personally, but in your business, also move forward and give you some things to think about, okay? Nah, you don't care about us. That's not why we're here today. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go. A little help? There we go, all right. Business credit, why is it important, right? A lot of people that we're finding out, and don't mind me, I cannot read that, so if I turn over here, please forgive me, okay? And don't tell my wife, she's pushing me to get an eye doctor appointment. But guys, business credit, a lot of business owners are still using personal credit for their business. And I think the biggest thing that is unknown, like even as a startup, even if you're seasoned, you can still get yourself business lines, okay? Let me tell you something about these companies. They love startups. They love people coming in, right? You're still gonna have to personal guarantor it. But why is business credit important? Well, it allows for larger purchases and the ability for one business to issue another business for credit, AKA trade line, a vendor line, right? Also known as net 30s, okay? It's one of the easiest ways to come in and set that barrier of entry for creating a credit score for your business through Dun & Bradstreet, through Equifax, through Experian, okay? The three main business credit bureaus, okay? It increases the value of a company. Well, what does that mean exactly, right? Oh, okay, I have a credit index that makes my company more valuable. What does that mean? Well, if you go to exit, right, if you're going through an acquisition, if you're selling it, that credit score is important. You're already established under that EIN number as a solvency, as a history, as something that's transferable as well. What's the most important thing in a business, right? If you're selling it, that bottom line revenue, what's it worth? What's it generating, right? What's its credit score as well? You know, do they owe anything? I think that's the biggest thing too, is does this company owe anything out? Better repayment terms, better interest rates, more borrowing power, right? If you're going in for a line of credit, for example, under your personal, okay, it's just you. They're not looking at everything tangible. Okay, well, we could give you 50 grand a year based on your personal tax return and what you're bringing at home. Yeah, that's great. You have that under the business has, you know, 6 figures, 7 figures of revenue. Okay, this looks great, right? We could get you more better terms, better interest rate, probably 6 figures of a line of credit. Sure, we'll get you in on that. Helps to avoid personal guaranteeing credit cards and different loan products. It's different right now, okay? There are still some things that you don't need a personal guarantor for. Sam's Club card's a really good one, but mostly everything you're still gonna have to personal guarantor. The main difference with that is that when you find the right credit cards, okay? Whether you personal guarantor them or not, when you find the right ones, they're not gonna report to your personal credit report every single month. And why is that important? Well, if you're racking up, you know, thousands of dollars for business expenditures, you let that statement close on your report, it's getting reported. Now say you wanted to go buy a house, right? Or you wanted to get that car and it's like, hey, excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. Client, you have $30,000 on this card, what's going on here? It's affecting your debt to income ratio to close this deal. Well, you know, that's my business. I don't understand how that's on there, but that gets paid in full every month. Well, now it's a problem because it looks like you're spending that on your personal. So there are companies that do report that to the personal credit report, okay? But the idea is Amex, Chase, get with those companies that don't report that every month to that personal credit report, okay? A lot of businesses make that mistake besides using personal credit. Personal credit cards for their expenditures. One thing I want to touch, I want to go back to increase the value of a company. Somebody else coming in can actually look you up, okay, without you knowing. Like if I'm looking at a company and a company I want to do business with, right, I want to do some B2B business. If there's something I'm selling on a wholesale level, okay, well, what's that company like? Can I look them up? I want to see what their terms are. It's not like personal credit where you need permission or that authorization to pull a credit report, okay? Personal credit obviously works through the Fair Credit Reporting Act. There's no arm when it comes to business credit, okay? So if I wanted to pull something, sure, I could call D&B, I could call my buddy Bill over at Credit Safe, I could get a report pulled, okay? Anybody can, and there's no reason for that. So it's like, hey, you had a bunch of inquiries on your credit report for your business. Really? How so? You know, anybody can look at that stuff, and I don't think a lot of people know that either. And exactly like was speaking that before, securing business credit protects your personal credit and personal assets. Technically, you're separating them anyway, but what you're doing is it's also you're creating more leverage. Okay, you're creating a second credit profile. If you have an excellent personal credit profile, all these trade lines on there with access to credit or some type of line of credit on there, great, you have that side. Right, and also your business, right? You have lines of credit, working capital, whatever you may need at your disposal. You have both sides of the equation, and realistically, there's just no education on really how to go about this. And if we really want to dive in depth to this, at some point we can. But I know Darnell will kill me if we're here all day, so I'll respect him.
I got you back, David.
Thank you, appreciate it, David. Okay, and we'll talk more about this, but going to the personal credit side, okay? When I'm teaching personal credit, just in general, bare bones, this chart right here is everything, right? And the reason that I'm bringing this up today to go along with business, there's a lot of funding companies, obviously we have partnerships with and relationships with when we're doing these things, and business owners coming in all the time that are looking for some type of funding and they don't qualify for a personal guarantor. 99% of the time is because their credit utilization on personal credit is too extended. And that's controlling your controllable. That's something that they can control by paying it down or paying it off and boosting a credit score. And most of them don't know why. What? My credit's great. What do you mean I can't get this line of credit that I need? What do you mean I can't get this equipment financing? That's crazy. How does that happen? Well, let's take a look. Yeah, I don't have anything negative. I have no collections. I've never been late, and I still can't get approved. Okay, well, what does your credit card habits look like? Oh, well, I have this, this, and this. You know, I'm building it up. I'm slow paying it a little bit on interest. Are you using it for your business? Yes. Why? Why? And if you're doing that, ask yourself that question. Why? Why are you doing it? Right? Sir, pay this down. Pay this off. You're going to change your score dramatically by 50 points, maybe 100 points. Obviously, everybody's different. Come back in 30 days, 60 days. Let's pull it again. Let's see where you're at. And go make that phone call and get that funding and make it happen. And go get yourself some business credit cards and stop doing that. Okay? But let me explain this, because guys, the math, everything is math, okay? I don't get into scores too much, because on the FICO model system, there's over 40 plus FICO scores. Did you know that? Don't be shy. What's going on? We're at lunch. Did you know that? There we go. Now we're alive. I like it. I'm gonna fire you guys up. I'm gonna bring energy. Why? Because credit's boring, man. It's so dry. It's so dry, right? How many of you agree this is dry? Thank you. Yeah, well, we love honesty, man. Of course it's dry. That's why you got me. I'm dry. You got to bring dry and dry. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, guys, right? It's all about the math. 40-some scores, unless you know exactly what you're going for, you could kind of dictate that, but the devil's in the details, right? It's so nice not having a TV. The laser pointer works on this. 35%, right? Payment history. The 4 main controllables. These are all controllables, right? Pay yourself on time, okay? 35% of your credit score. I promise you, the moment you are late, and I don't care what your credit score is, if your score is over 800 and you are late, and say it probably drops you 100, 150 points, yes, that much, okay? Because that point value for this is 192 points. Cumulatively, depending on other factors and all that good stuff, right? But the moment you are late, it's not only, hey, my credit's still good from being late. Go to any lender, more than likely they're gonna deny you, because that's the barrier of entry coming in for any financing. Well, sir, you were just late, okay? Why should we give you anything? You were just late. I use the good old analogy, if you're trying to buy something, go to somebody on a street corner, right? You're trying to buy a house, ask them, hey, sir, I don't know you, can I borrow $300,000 for this house? I don't know you, I'll pay you back maybe over the next 30 years. You give me your interest rate. Are you down with that? It's like, dude, I don't know you, man. Get out of here. I don't want to deal with that. It's the same concept in banking, right? That's a risk assessment. You're late. It's like, dude, you don't pay your bills, man. Like, no, I don't want to deal with that. So that barrier of entry, you have one late payment, could be 6 months of rolling payments. Depending on what you're looking for, it could be 12 months. So guys, most importantly, make sure you're paying your stuff. Even if you pay a minimum, set it on auto pay, okay? It's your best friend. And then the next biggest one, as I was saying right here, capacity or amount owed, basically credit utilization, 30% or 165 points, right? Credit scores, by the way, has a range from 300 to 850 on the consumer FICO model index, right? 300, it's like the old SAT scores. From signing your name, you get some points. All right? So that 30%, and it dictates on revolving trade lines. So you have credit cards, store cards, line of credit, variable line of credit, right? The more you'll use, the more points you're gonna lose, okay? Is letting that balance. So that's something you can dictate. You really wanna dictate it, don't let the statement close. Pay that off before the statement. Let it close out, especially if you're going to get a mortgage or something, or if you're getting that business funding. okay? For every dollar you borrow, that's the definition of a revolving trade line. For every dollar you essentially borrow on that revolving trade line, as long as that company's open and you're still in good standing, okay, you never have to go through an underwriting process ever again. So that risk assessment of having that over and over again, every time you use a dollar, we're gonna drop it down a little more until it gets paid back. A lot of people say 33 or 30% is that sweet spot, don't go over that. I say it's 1 to 10, ideally in between that 1 to 10 or lower. Why? Because I've played around with it myself. The moment you start getting higher than 10, it's gonna take a big drop, okay? Length of credit, okay, time, credit age, that's 15%. You know, that's sweet spots, 5 to 6 years. You get that maximum amount of points on there, okay? That you can't control, that's just time. Everybody always has that ridiculous magic question. Hey man, I want an 850 credit score and I'm so close, how do I get it? You don't, you got everything else in line, you gotta wait a little bit. You gotta let these things age out. You have more accounts, they're gaining age, mortgage gains some age. If you're keeping that car note for a long time, that's gaining age, okay, cool. If you get some credit cards, you get them for 10, 20 years, that'll keep the cycle rolling. And honestly, it's just a flex anyway, really. It keeps that gap separated for when you do need utilization. New credit, 10%, right? There's that myth of, yeah, you get an inquiry, it'll drop you down a little bit, but then there's that myth of, hey man, how much is too much, right? If somebody's offering you something and you have the ability to get it, get it. There's nothing wrong if you have 10 cards and they're 10 grand a piece, right? If you're a responsible user, now you got $100,000 at your disposal, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. So if somebody says there's something wrong with that, don't let them fool you on that. It's all about responsible use. And the types of credit used, right? That's another controllable. For even clients on the personal side, or even anybody when we're looking for personal to business, you know, what do you have already, right? You got some credit cards, great, but you're missing the other two pieces. You're missing an installment loan, AKA personal loan, auto loan, student loan, whatever the case may be, whatever's fixed and has a definite timeline to pay that off, or any type of mortgage loan, right? That's the three, okay? There's other ways to get that stuff reported if you don't have it. Self-lender, that's a good one. You're essentially using a company to pay yourself a loan, a fixed interest loan. Obviously you want to pay it on time and all that good stuff, and it's building credit history under the installment side. There's rent reporting companies out there that will report as a mortgage line, right? That they will report to all three bureaus and you'll get credit on your credit report as a mortgage. So there's always two sides of the coin. Yeah, we look at negative stuff and all that, but what is being built on the positive side, guys? And those are the main controllables, right? Getting that mixture of credit, paying your stuff down, obtaining new credit, and that payment history. And one thing I'll say for anybody too, and this is just to throw this out there, for some reason, if somebody ever gets dequalified for a house, we see this all the time, right? All of a sudden they weren't paying their bills before, but now all of a sudden they want to start paying things off to get the house. Oh man, I'm 50 points away. I just got declined for the house, right? I owe $2,000 left on my car. I'm just going to go pay it, not even say anything. What do you think happens when they pay that car off? Absolutely. You're settling. A lot of people think because he's satisfied, it goes up. But what are you losing, right? It goes down, right? I heard somebody say it goes down. What happens with that? You lose all those factors. You lose the payment history. You lose how old it was. You're losing the type, right? You're losing that installment piece, okay? You're losing all that. You know, so sometimes, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Well, why do I want to keep this open? What do I want to pay this for? This stinks. Like, I don't want to waste any money on interest. But strategically, sometimes, whatever you're looking for, it makes sense to keep it there, whatever you're going for. Business funding, mortgage, right? Don't mess or change with anything unless you're told to do so in some manner, and then take care of it. How am I on time? I can't see, bro. I told you I'm blind. Is that 1 minute? I'm good? Guys, so in closing, right? I'll keep this short and sweet because, man, I actually made it through. I can't believe it. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you, right? Usually we just keep going on and on. It's not that. Yeah, I got it dialed in today. But guys, in all seriousness, we're here to help, man. I love coming to these events. I love creating relationships. I love helping other people, especially businesses, because this is real life Monopoly to me. You know, there's some crazy stuff I've done like with credit when you understand how things work, right? Especially on the business side, right? Show you everything is in line. Say, for example, get 10 business credit cards right away. Most of them are 0% for 12 months, right? So if you get 10 grand a piece or even less at 25 grand a piece, 4 of them. Now you have $100,000 over 12 months at 0% to utilize it some way. Now I'm not saying to go do that because yes, there's math and equations and an ROI that you need because you don't want to get caught up on that. But it's easier than you think, okay? It's just math, it's getting some things in order, it's getting around, you know, humbly, somebody like me, right, to help you get there. And like, that's really the game, and it's easier than you think. So on that note, guys, I kept it short and sweet. I'm sure Darnell appreciates it. And thank you guys for listening to this raspy loudmouth shed some knowledge with you today. Greatly appreciated.